All right. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome back to the 2023-2024 academic year. My name is Catherine Pizzella, and I serve Delta Upsilon as one of the two senior directors of chapter development. And I'm really, really excited to be here with some of our other staff to talk to you tonight about the new DU portal, which is going to be just totally life-changing for all of us in all the various ways that our chapters kind of operate locally and interact with IHQ and vice versa. So I want to give a quick shout out to the other staff on the call. We have our Senior Director of Educational Programs, Noah Borton, and one of our leadership consultants, Russell Briggs, here with us. So maybe I can ask the two of you to monitor the chat a little bit and help me out as I go through this. And then, like I said, we can do some Q&A at the end. This webinar is for advisors and chapter officers who now have access to the DU portal. You've had access for about 10 days now, and we're really excited to give you that advanced access to get in there, get a little bit of time working around and through the different functionalities before all the chapter members get in there this week. And we'll talk about that timeline in a little bit. But this webinar does count for our Men of Merit webinar season and attendance for our advisors. So just as a reminder, there is a requirement for advisors to attend a certain number of international webinars, and this counts. So you all are getting advanced credit right away at the beginning of the academic year. So I commend you for that. If you're on your phone, if you wouldn't mind putting your name in the chat when you have a minute so we know you're here and you can get credit for being here, that would be good. All right, so what we're going to accomplish tonight is I'm going to tell you what the DU portal is. I'm going to tell you why we're switching to it and what it does. I'm going to talk about how some of our processes are changing. So some of the things that you all regularly do, like reporting associate members and reporting initiates and paying your bills, those are all going to be channeled through the portal now. So we're going to talk about how those processes are changing and the deadlines that you need to know about now that we're in this new system. But this webinar is not going to be a how to use the portal. We have a ton of resources out there on that, and I'll go over those at the end. So we're not going to walk through, how to make an officer update or how to report an associate member, because I can direct you to those resources. There are video tutorials that'll help you with that. We really just want to talk philosophically about what is this thing that we are rolling out? How are we going to use it? How is it going to change the way that IHQ interacts with chapters and vice versa, like I said. And then I can talk about how you get more resources to learn how to do this after this webinar. But I'm really excited to share what it can do. I spent the day on a chapter visit, sitting down with officers, kind of talking them through it. It got me really excited to do this webinar tonight. So thanks for being here. All right, so first and foremost, what is the DU portal? So the portal is a user-friendly, member-oriented platform from Salesforce, which is a company some of you may be familiar with or utilize in your professional worlds, and Chapter Spot, which is kind of their fraternity sorority division. And it allows members, leaders, staff, better management of fraternity and membership records and processes. So simply put, this is how we are going to interact and kind of organize all of our database and administrative processes moving forward. What the Salesforce team calls Chapter Spot, we are calling the DU portal. So you may know that other fraternity sorority organizations also use Chapter Spot. They might call it Chapter Spot. We're using the same technology, but we're customizing it for ourselves and calling it the DU portal. And so why are we adopting this? There's a number of reasons. Of course, we're bringing our technology up to date, and we're trying to operate in 2023 and beyond, where many of our processes were outdated, antiquated, or just could be done more efficiently, effectively, or in a user-friendly way. And we want to leverage technology and access resources that are available to us in order to be able to make your experience better. It also gives members more direct control over their own records and increases the ease of use for all of us. And it is going to be a central location where members and staff can see chapter and member information in live time. So where there has been a lot of needing to email or text or call your IHQ liaison or Jana in the office and ask, can you send me a copy of the roster so I can make sure that it's up to date before billing goes out? That won't need to happen anymore because you can log in and see your roster in live time. And it's just a better use of fraternity resources to cut down on all of that administrative work and allow our staff the time to have more meaningful and helpful interactions with the chapters. All right, so how does this help you? Like I said, before you had access to the DU portal, you did not have access to any membership or chapter records, right? When you wanted to see something or update something, you had to work through staff or report it through a static form on our website. And then a staff member would have to go in and read the back end of that form, process the information, update it in our database, maybe spit out a confirmation to you and say, we've gotten this. But you have to wait for staff to do that and all that processing time. And you wouldn't necessarily be able to verify that the change had been made or the information was received without asking, right? But the DU portal puts all of the power of record updating and viewing right in your hands for easier and faster access, and for us as well, right? So in the portal, you can manage and update your own contact information. So when you move or have a new email address, you can update that with the International Fraternity and the Foundation right through the portal. You can search and connect with other members, and you can access important fraternity resources, which I'm going to talk about in this training. So I want to talk about who has access and when are other people going to get access, because we are right in the middle of the rollout right now. So here's our launch timeline, right? And so as of today, Monday, August 28th, right now, IHQ staff, our board of directors, and some international volunteers have access, as well as undergraduate chapter level officers, alumni corporation officers, advisors, and house corporation. There is a pre-launch email that went out to all undergraduate members that were on file with the fraternity today, indicating that they would get portal access tomorrow. So one of the reasons why we wanted to have this webinar tonight is to give you all one last chance to kind of get in there, hear a little bit more about it, understand its functionality, so that when everyone in your chapter gets access tomorrow, you're going to be a little bit more well-versed as to what they can access and what's going to be going on. So tomorrow, they will receive the actual launch email from the portal directly. It will be similar to what you received. It will ask them to click on a link to claim their account. They will go through and update their contact information, and then it will send them to the landing page where they'll again have always the opportunity to update their own contact information. There's a link to donate to the DU Educational Foundation, and there's a link to our international website. But then they can also click into the chapters section of the portal to see things that I'll talk about later on. Associate members will get portal access immediately after they're reported. So we'll talk about how you report associate members moving forward in our process in the portal. But basically, as soon as you report them to us, they will also get the same kind of launch email, and it will ask them to log in for the first time, update their contact information, and then they will have access to the portal moving forward as associate members. Then in September, we're going to roll out the portal to all alumni. So on Tuesday, September 12th, they will get the pre-launch email from IHQ saying this is coming tomorrow, just as you all did. And then the next day on the 13th, they will get the actual portal access. So again, I want you to be prepared to answer questions from your members starting tomorrow when they get access to the portal. And of course, if there's anything that you can't answer, you can feel free to contact your IHQ liaison. There are different levels of access in the portal, as you would imagine, right? We wouldn't want every single member and associate member of the chapter to have admin access to be in there editing things on behalf of your chapter. So currently, this is the list of undergraduate chapter officers and alumni officers who have admin level access in the portal. So there are 5 undergraduate officers, 2 advisors, and then the House Corporation President. So chapter advisor, the vice presidents of finance, administration, membership education, recruitment, and then the lead chapter advisor, VP finance advisor, because billing will happen through this platform, and the House Corporation President. So I want to talk a little bit about how we are going to start changing the processes that we have in the fraternity as a result of having this portal. The first thing is going to be member profiles, demographic, and contact information. This is your individual record with the International Fraternity and the Foundation, right? So just like you would keep your contact information up to date with, say, your bank or in your Amazon account, every time you move or have a change of phone number or email address or any demographic contact information, you want to keep that updated with the International Fraternity. You're going to have the opportunity to go in and update your own profile, and it will update with us in live time. So no more need to email Jana and say, hey, I've moved, here's my new address. Also, chapter roster management, and this is going to be huge for all of us, right? We're going to use the portal to keep rosters up to date in every way that we have previously updated rosters. Everything now will happen through the portal. So this is replacing all of our former processes. And if you've been on the international website recently, you've noticed that some of those reporting forms have come off. So there's no associate member report anymore. There's no initiate report. There's no resignation form, any of that. Everything's going to happen through the portal, right? And there's going to be no more beginning of semester emails from Jana with an Excel sheet of the roster or any roster related forms on that chapter reporting page. Everything's going to be done in the portal. Most changes that are going to happen are instantaneous. It might take like 60 seconds. It might take 90 seconds. It might take, you need to refresh the page, but it should be instantaneous changes for you. So if that's not happening as you start to navigate the portal, please contact someone on staff. Some status changes for members do require staff approval or review, which is mostly suspensions and resignations. And so just like in the past when someone resigned and you had to send the paperwork, I'm sorry, not resignations, expulsions, suspensions and expulsions. Just like before, if someone was suspended or expelled from the fraternity by the chapter, you'd have to submit the chapter hearing documentation. You'll still have to upload that into the portal. We'll review it to make sure that everything is there that we need. If it's all there, we'll approve it. If it's not, we'll just contact you and ask for whatever's missing before we approve it. But most changes should be instantaneous. You'll also use the portal to update chapter officers and advisors. So those are 2 other forms we used to have on the website that are now gone. So the officer update form, advisor update form, you'll be able to see a full roster of all your chapter officers and advisors and make lifetime changes every time there's a change. Chapter billing between chapters and IHQ will happen through the portal. I'm not talking about chapter level dues billing of your individual members. I'm talking about paying your invoices to the International Fraternity. That process will shift through the portal. And instead of receiving a PDF of an invoice from Jana, you'll see your bill right in the portal and be able to pay it through the portal as well. Basically, you will tell us how many members you have on your roster by updating the roster through the portal. We will publish a poll date for that before every semester. For the fall, the poll date is September 2nd. So you have until the end of the day on September 1st to update your roster. After that point, everyone who's in the chapter's roster in the portal will be billed for in the per man fee. And then all of the invoices will be generated by the system and in the portal for you to see and make payments. There's no more payment link on the DU website, but you're still able to mail checks to headquarters at any time if you prefer to pay by paper check through the mail. The portal has a really cool recruitment tracker function that is a recruitment tool, but also part of our associate member reporting process. So it's really important that chapters start to utilize that during this fall recruitment if they haven't already completed recruitment. Anyone in the chapter has the ability to add a PNM on the recruitment tracker, but only officers, some designated officers have the opportunity to move a PNM through the process and officially report that person to IHQ as an associate member. So all of the members having access to generate names of PNMs is similar to how you likely have sent out an Excel document or had a shared document where people could put in names of PNMs, or maybe used a Google form that then populated an Excel sheet. This is going to be managed all through the portal, and you can move people through the recruitment process to, this is just a list of PNMs we can think of, to like, here's PNMs we have contacted, here's PNMs who have actually come to an event, and then ultimately you're going to categorize them by which PNMs you give bids to. When you hear back from PNMs, if they accept, there's a quick little report button that you're going to press to officially report them to IHQ as an associate member. And if they decline, there's an area of the portal you can move them to so that you can see visually kind of who has responded in what way. And you know you don't have to track them down for an answer because they've already responded and declined. But basically, as soon as you do have those acceptances and you report them all using the report button, that's going to trigger all of the functionality of the portal for those now associate members, right? That's when they're going to get the initial introductory email that's going to invite them to the portal. They're going to click on that button. They're going to go in, claim their account, update their contact information, which replaces our bio cards that they used to fill out. And then they're going to have access to various functionality that I'll talk about later right through the portal. One of those things is access to Plaid, which is our new online learning assessment. This was formerly called Community EDU and was run by a separate company. We're utilizing Plaid as a new company moving forward, and the program that they're going to be taking is called Tightrope. I'm going to talk more about that later. So that's kind of how some of our processes are going to be changing as a result of what the portal can do. And with that, we have some updated timelines that are really important to know about. So one thing is that member statuses can only be reported in the past or the present, meaning we can't submit associate members and say, we're going to have the pledging ceremony in 2 weeks, right? We can only submit the associate members once they've been pledged, which is a change for us. And it's the same thing with the initiation ceremony, where previously chapters were able to go in and do the initiate report, weeks in advance, basically as soon as they knew when initiation was and who was going to be able to be initiated. And we would send the pins and the ribbons in advance. Now we have to wait until initiation has happened and then report them as initiated, because you can't have a status that starts in the future. We will provide a replacement process on how the chapters can receive the pins and the ribbons in time for initiation, because I know that's one of the most important pieces of that ceremony, is the opportunity to put the pin and the ribbon kind of, around their shoulders and have that for the photo op. So we're working on kind of a replacement process for how chapters can notify us of how many initiates they'll have, so that you're able to receive those supplies in advance. But you won't be able to officially change their status in the platform until after the ceremony has occurred, or at least the day of. Same thing with officer roles and advisor changes. Everything can only happen in the past or the present. So outgoing officers do need to wait until their terms are over to change the leadership. But as soon as elections have happened and they've had that transition and they're officially ready to have the next group of officers start receiving, all the automated emails from us and everything, that's when they'll go in and change it. They do need to understand that when they go in and change that status and say the current president appoints someone else as the new president, the outgoing president then immediately loses those admin responsibilities in the portal. So they do need to wait until they're ready to make that transition, because they won't have access to that afterwards. One second. The next thing is access to Tightrope, which is that new program that's replacing Community EDU. It is going to accomplish the same kind of health and safety and orientation, like training goals that we have as a fraternity. It's going to cover the same topics, but it's a different company that provides a different platform and program that we've decided to switch to. The good news for the members is it's only one module. And so whereas Community EDU had 2 parts and the members needed to wait at least a week between part 1 and part 2, Tightrope is one program that is assigned as soon as someone is reported as an associate member, and they can stop and restart it, and it'll save where they left off as they work through it. So they don't need to do it all in one sitting, but they do need to complete the entirety of the program. Members will access Tightrope through the DU portal. To do that, they're going to go to this main landing page for the chapter, and they're going to go over here to the right and select the DU virtual programs button. That will take them to the Plaid website, but the good news is it's single sign-on. So since they're already logged into the portal, it's going to automatically land them on their personal page for Plaid. And there they will be able to see any and all courses that are assigned to them. If they're an associate member, they're going to see Tightrope. We're also going to be assigning Tightrope to all returning initiated members that have not completed Community EDU last year, because we do have the completion guidelines for loss prevention credit and men of merit that I'll get into in a minute. So if you'd like a chance for your upperclassmen to be able to complete that program, they should have done it before they were initiated. They'll be able to do that, and we'll be able to get them access very soon here as well. It just won't be as automatic as the associate member assignments. So, like I said, all of the associate members moving forward will have automatic access to it when they're reported. And the best news about this is that those portal administrators that I showed you that list of earlier can all view member completion reports in live time. So whereas you're used to the liaisons emailing you out every week, like here's a completion report this week of who's done Community EDU, now you're going to be able to go into the platform and see in live time who has made progress on that program. So that should make things much easier, because I know when you're trying to follow up with guys, and let's say it's Sunday and it's a chapter meeting and you got the report on Friday from your liaison, guys can be like, oh, well, I finished it yesterday. And you're like, okay. And then come to find out the next week, they still haven't finished it, on the next update. So you're gonna be able to look in live time and show them what you can see. And if you keep your roster up to date through the portal, we will update in Plaid so that those completion reports are accurate for you. And just as a reminder, the completion requirements for men of merit for minimum level is 60% completion by the whole chapter. Expectation is 85% and aspiration is 95%. And then to receive the loss prevention credit for next year, as in 2024, 2025, by the end of this year, we need at least 50% of the chapter to have completed Community EDU or Plaid, and 75% to have completed it for the 10% credit. So just to clarify, those upperclassmen members who previously had access to Community EDU, if they completed Community EDU, they are done with this learning assessment requirement. They will not be assigned Tightrope. It's just any returning upperclassmen that never did Community EDU, and then associate members moving forward. This is the replacement program for Community EDU. For the chapters that have adopted Greekbill, which is a financial management platform, they will also access it through the DU portal. So I have a screenshot on the right that shows the Greekbill logo as one of the options when you log in. And if you are a Greekbill chapter, that will be colored in for you, and that will be your launch to the Greekbill website. Again, it will be single sign-on. You'll be automatically logged in, even though you are in Greekbill then at that point. For those chapters that are adopting Greekbill, administrators do have access now, and we're in the process of loading all of the active members on August 31st. One important thing to know about the portal and Greekbill and how they talk to each other is Greekbill does have a roster update function, but you should not use it. We're going to use the roster update function only in the portal. Any changes you make in the portal will be loaded into Greekbill, but not vice versa. So again, don't update rosters in Greekbill if you're a Greekbill chapter, because those will not be reflected in the portal at all, but it works the other way. So only update rosters in the portal. Okay, so what you all can do now. The first step is to claim your account. So like I said, at some point in the last 10 days, not the end of last week, but the end of the week before, you received that intro email from IHQ. And you also received the portal invite the next day on Thursday, August 17th. Is when you got that. So go back and hunt in your emails if you haven't already found that. Look in your junk folder, spam folder, any other folder it might have landed in. And if you can't find that invite after looking in all those places, contact your IHQ liaison and we can get it resent to you. But you can't do anything in the portal until you have claimed your account. So it's really important that you go in and do that first. Claiming your account just means verifying the information that IHQ has on file for you. For some of you, it might be a long time since you've looked at that, or even, like, again, you've never had access to it. So maybe you've moved 3 times since the last time you updated your address with the fraternity. So it will populate whatever our last known contact information is for you, and you'll be able to go in and update that. Then once you're in, you can, edit your own contact information at any time. But the next thing you're probably going to want to do as a leader or an officer or an advisor is go to the top right corner of the screen, and that's where you're going to see the chapter that you're associated with. You're going to click on that button, and that's going to take you to the landing page for your chapter. And that's where you're going to have all those options to review and update the chapter roster, officers, advisors, right? So to start off the academic year, we obviously want to have the most up-to-date list of who's in our chapters, who's leading our chapters, and who's advising our chapters. So if you would, please take a couple minutes this week to go in and do that. Like I said, roster numbers will be pulled after September 1st. So basically you have through the end of this week to do that, and then we'll start pulling rosters for billing after that. And that's really all you need to do and can do this week, unless you are going into recruitment season, in which case you can start loading PNMs in there through the recruitment tracker feature and get the chapter going with that portion of it for recruitment. And then starting next week, once invoices have populated in the portal, you'll be able to log in to view and pay your fall 2023 invoices. Again, that's all invoices that Jana would have previously emailed you. They'll be visible in the portal. You'll also be able to see in the portal if you have a balance forward from last year. Because this is a clean start and our billing process was different last year, if you do have a balance from last year, it's just going to give you a total amount owed to IHQ. You're not going to be able to see the individual invoices that made up that total. So if you do have a balance and you have questions about how we got to that number, that's when you can email your IHQ liaison and we can provide you an itemized detail of that balance. But for most of you, of course, you're going to have a zero balance going into next year. And then you're going to be able to see all itemized invoices moving forward from this point right in the portal. If you're a chapter officer and you didn't ever do community EDU previously, you should go in and make time to complete tightrope to get that done and lead by example. And then you can tell all your members, come on, I've done this. Everybody needs to do this. And then when you do end up reporting associate members, it's really important to make sure that you communicate to them that they need to complete tightrope and they need to do it before they're initiated. There's 2 reasons for that. One reason is it's a requirement for initiation, right? What we need from all associate members to be initiated is they need to go through the pledging ceremony, they need to pay their associate member fee, they need to complete associate member education, they need to update their contact information by claiming their portal account, and they need to complete tightrope, right? So we shouldn't be initiating anyone that hasn't completed those 5 things, and leadership should be helping them through that process. But the second really important reason is they're also going to lose access to Tightrope through the portal when they get initiated. So as soon as you mark them as an undergrad member, the portal is going to assume they finished the program, and they're not going to have that direct login access that I talked about before. If someone slips through the cracks, we will still be able to provide a way for them to complete the program after initiation, but because it's an initiation requirement, that should be something that everyone's taking care of before the ceremony. I think just philosophically, what we need from everybody is just to start making a habit of checking the portal when you need information, right? And just kind of retraining our brains to go there first and see, like, is this something that's in the portal? Can I find this information? Do I have this information, right? We need you to take responsibility and ownership of your own chapter's contact information, roster, officers, and advisors, right? Because that's the official record with the fraternity that we're going to use for so many things, including all the important things like sending Friday fast breaks out and contacting you. So if we don't have the right officers in place, we're not going to have, the ability to contact people, the right people. When you move or have updated contact information, please go in and update that for us. And then, of course, when the roster changes, officers change, advisors change, go up in there and make those changes as soon as possible. All right, so like I mentioned, this is not a how-to, right? So I'm not going through how you actually do any of these things. I just wanted you to know what the portal does. So philosophically, you're kind of with us and understand why we're making this switch. But we do have an awesome library of how-to videos that are just as long as the process takes. So not everyone is a long webinar like this. They can be just short, how do you report an associate member? How do you update the roster? How do you mark someone as graduated? And so if you go to our website, deltu.org/DU portal, there are written resources in like PDF form that you can download and kind of read through like step by step, if that's how you'd like to tackle it. And then there's video tutorials where the chapter spot team has recorded themselves doing the individual processes. So you can follow along and kind of click when they click, and they'll literally teach you through all the different processes. So go there as well if you have questions about how to do any of these things. There's a lot of resources there for you to check out, as well as more information about the timeline and what's going on kind of in the next couple of weeks with the rollout of the portal. If you do have any login or technical issues, contact the chapter spot support team. If you have questions about how to navigate the portal or feedback about the portal or just confusion about the functionality and kind of how we're switching our processes as a fraternity, please contact us, right? So it's like you have this login account with this external company. If you're having login issues, they're going to need to support you through that. But if it's a fraternity related question, of course, come to fraternity staff. And then this is the first wave of kind of functionality of the portal. There are going to be many more waves that kind of come out as we have the opportunity to kind of enable different features of the portal moving forward. We're going to have some fun things rolling out in the future. So the next thing we're going to unleash is educational program and event registrations are all going to happen through the portal, which is going to be great for all of our members because it's going to have the ability to pre-populate your contact information. So whereas before, if you wanted to register, say for President's Academy or Leadership Institute, you would go into a form and you'd have to type your name and your email and your phone and your address and your chapter and all those things, right? It's going to pull that directly from your membership record, and you're just going to have to type in or select the additional program specific information. So that is going to streamline registration for us and make it much easier and faster for you all. And we are going to be launching that starting with President's Academy 2024 registration, which we hope to have out soon. Also, something I'm super excited about is eventually we're going to do all Men of Merit and CEP submissions and tracking within the DU portal. So part of the functionality of the chapter page will be being able to go in and seeing basically what we now call the scorecard, which is that Word document that we can share with you with the colored diamonds on it of how you do in every category. That information eventually will be able to be displayed in the portal in live time. So again, you won't have to ask your liaison, how are we doing, or how many people did this? It's going to be there live in the portal for you, as well as hopefully you'll be able to submit CEPs through the portal very soon. We also are going to be able to share and have you look at your own DU Educational Fund gift information, foundation gift information. There's going to be a brother search feature. We're going to be able to find DUs in your area. And then if chapters continue to adopt Greenville, they're going to have that financial integration piece as well for their own local chapter management. I'm going to stop there and invite questions and ask what you all are thinking.
Could you repeat the address again?
For the portal?
Yeah.
I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
So feel free to come off mute. Let me know what questions you have. And while you think about that, I'll share that this is the portal address. Oh, I'm not sure that worked. All right, so it's portal.deltau.org. If you've already claimed your account and you go there, you're just going to use your login credentials to get in. If you haven't claimed your account, you may need to go back into your email and find that invitation and click on that direct link that was specific for you, because that's tied to your membership record, and that's going to allow you that first time access. You're never going to have to update your contact information after the first time you log in. Alumni records in the portal. Good question, Scott. So we have transitioned all IHQ database information to the portal. So everything we had on file for alumni has been transitioned into the portal. When individual alumni are invited into the portal in September, that's when they're going to have the opportunity to do what you guys are all doing on that first login by updating their contact information. So we're hoping with this rollout that we get this refresh of accurate contact information as people go in to log in for the first time. And it's going to say, you know, is this still your phone number? Is this still your mailing address? Which is going to allow us more accurate reporting. So when you all want, you know, a list of alumni in your area or a contact list of all alumni from your chapter, we're going to be able to pull that and hopefully have much more accurate contact information. If there are other types of alumni records you're asking about, just let me know if I missed the mark there.
Yeah, Catherine? When you send out to alumni, we have about 750 alumni, but only about half of them have emails. The rest of them, maybe 2/3 of the remaining, we have street addresses, and a bunch we have no information on. So are you going to be contacting them with just a street address?
You know, I'm not sure, and I'm going to write that down and ask. That's such a great point. Thank you, Charlie. That's such a great point.
Yeah.
Other questions?
And I guess you'll be sending out some kind of direct information that is needed kind of from the portal to remind people, or some kind of jog them along, huh?
Yes. So we'll be able to pull contact information from the portal for all of our IHQ mailings and things like that.
Just pump them out. Yeah.
Okay. If you have other questions, feel free to just jump off mute. Let me know. But in the meantime, I want to give you some information on some upcoming DU webinars. So we are right in the middle of our recruitment preparation, Amplify DU. The first session was last week, and I believe it was recorded. If people missed it and would like to go back and review that, it's going to be posted on the website. There's also all the Amplify sessions from previous years are on the website as well. So there's a lot of recruitment resources out there. But our next two live events are tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern, which is Marketing, Social Media, and Recruitment Scouting Part 1. And then next week, next Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we'll be hearing from actually Russell, who's on our call, and some of our other staff about the recent successes they had at their chapter. And then there'll be Recruitment Scouting Part 2. So that does require pre-registration. So if you haven't signed up for those Amplify DU webinars yet, or you need to ping your vice president for recruitment or recruitment teams to do that, next opportunity is tomorrow night. So please ask them to go in and register. That's on the website. And then next 2 weeks from now, Wednesday, September 13th, there'll be a Men of Merit and CEP Changes webinar. If you attended Leadership Institute or have been reading your emails about this, we've made a number of changes to the Men of Merit program and CEP programs for this year. So want to be able to do a webinar to kind of walk through those, help people understand. For our more auditory and visual learners, if you want someone to talk you through it, it's going to be the same information that's gone out via email. So if you feel like you're good with that, you're good. If you'd like to be there for kind of the live presentation and Q&A, feel free to join us on Wednesday, September 13th. And that all of these webinars are part of the advisor training series. So as you work on attending 1, 2, or 3 programs for Men of Merit, we plan to have many through the years, so you don't need to feel that you need to just do these 3 to get there. We're going to try to have at least one a month on different topics, but these all do count for advisor attendance. Anybody think of any questions while I went through that? Awesome. Well, I'm going to say thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, if you have questions moving forward as you get in there to start working through it, just get in contact with your IHQ liaison or myself, and we're happy to help you.
Thank you.